I think I'm live. I think I've got sound. I think we are live and with sound. Woohoo! So, hello crafty people. Let's make sure I've got everything in check. So, phone's there for comments. You guys are there for that. And yeah, I think we're good. I've got a little bit of a halo. My light's a little bit low. I don't want to play with it just in case I knock it. So thank you guys who are out there joining me tonight. Sorry I had to postpone last week, but the house was just absolute chaos. So we did manage to get the ceiling down. We have managed to get a new ceiling up, filled, painted. The walls are painted. Most of the cabinets are back up, but not all of them. And I haven't yet quite got all the stuff from the front room back into the kitchen. But that is a job for another day. Because we've been out and about, because Theo's obviously on school holidays. So we've been out and about having a bit of fun, bit of flip out, bit of McDonald's, which is very naughty. And I went into Home Sense. Oh my God. They've got all the Halloween stuff out at the moment. It was very exciting. I got myself a new pair of oven gloves with what are they called? Ghosts on, and they are super cute. And I also got myself a little I love these. I've got a few of these like Heidi boxes. So it looks like a book, but it's a little box. I love these, and I've got a few of them. Yeah, they're great. So got myself a couple of little bits, which I probably shouldn't have done, but oh well. They were a nice little bit of fun. But tonight, guys, okay, so if you're watching and you want to join in, you can. No stamps required. We're going to do some actual watercolouring from Bare Basics. So all you're going to need is some form of watercolour palette or inks, depending what you work with, and some watercolour cardstock. That's all you need. So you don't need stamps or anything. We may need a fine liner pen at the end if we get through to doing the two little projects I've got. We might only get round to doing one, but we will see. Hi Kel. I hope you're well, my dear. I hope your week is going well. But I'm glad to say the kitchen is slowly getting there. Definitely took far longer than we thought it was going to. One of those things. And we also, so at the weekend, we downed tools because it was my other half's 40th birthday. So we went out for some nice lunch in Portsmouth and a mooch around Gunwharf Quay, which was lovely. So, you know, we're almost there with the kitchen. And today me and Theo have been out, so I've not been able to do any of the things I need to do. But yeah, so how are you today? I hope you're well. And hoping we'll have a couple more people join us in a bit. But so we're going to do some watercolouring. So the lovely thing about watercolouring, so we're going to do some flowers. This is a bit kind of girlyish for me, but actually it's a really good way to start kind of playing with watercolour. If you want to do, it's a good place to start, shall we say. So for beginners, for advanced, it's just a really nice way to start. So we're going to do this project. So I've just created this on an A6 piece of watercolor cardstock, and it looks way more technical than it is, and that's the beauty of it. Because I mean, for me, it makes me feel like, oh yes, I painted that really beautifully. But I mean, with a little bit of practice, I mean, your brushstrokes will get better and better. I'm still a noob when it comes to these things, but I just really enjoy doing them when I get the time to do it. So it's nice to do something that is no stamps required. I mean, how many other people do that? So I've got a Kelly, hi, all good here, lovely to hear. Kitchen, yeah, kitchen is up, yeah. And yes, it was a lovely weekend. It was really nice, actually. It was nice to have a bit of time off. And we also went out for dinner. So I don't know particularly posh. We went to Pizza Express, but it was actually just really nice because we don't really ever have enough cash to kind of go out for dinner and stuff very often. So special occasions. Oh, that is beautiful. Is it a little? Yeah, it's been really hot today. So like I said, I took Theo to flip out in Chichester, so up the road from us, and it was so hot. I mean, just beating down. It was crazy how hot it was today, and I was so we went into Home Sense where I got my little thingy, and aircon, amazing. And you walked outside and you forgot how hot it was, but it was ridiculously hot. We also went and looked at the animals at Pets at Home, which is down the road from there, and yeah, it was really nice. A nice day. I don't normally have days off because I normally have to feel it with stuff, but it was really nice. But anyway, so yes, watercolouring tonight. Watercolouring. Yes, a bit of this. And if we get enough time, we will do, because I've just prepared a couple of projects. We'll do this if we have enough time. Using similar techniques, minimal tools. I say minimal tools if you have them. But if you have, for instance, 2 ink colours, you can do this, which is beautiful. So I've just taken a piece of A4 watercolour cardstock. I've cut it in 4. That makes it an A6 in size. So we're going to do a little bit of that tonight. So I'm going to flip it a flue. Flip it a flue, she says. That's the one. Desk cam, go. Oh, I've got a little bit of a shine. So difficult to deal with that. So I have several different watercolour palettes because I've collected them over the years, and I really have collected them. So this was one of the very first kind of watercolour palettes that I had, which this one's from Rare Earth, and I mean, like, Rare Earth isn't even going anymore. And you can see the state of this, but it was really good for a starter palette, and I think it cost me about £15. I think, or maybe... Yeah, I think it was about 15 quid. So it wasn't massively expensive for a watercolour palette. And then I got this one, which is my lovely little travel one. And this is a really nice kind of little one. This one, I'll be honest, it was a gift. So I don't know how much it was, but I know you can still get them. And I made myself a little colour palette to go with it. So I knew what shades the kind of colours go when painting with it. But this was a really nice one, and it's so I want to say Chinese make, Hachati. I've probably said that wrong, but them, and I think they actually sell them on Hobby Maker, or they did. But I think I got this from Tony at Stamps by Me as a gift. But it's really nice because this you can double up as your water to put your water in. But I also have these ones, which I think these were £15 each. I got mine in Hobbycraft, but the reason I got these ones is because apparently when I watercoloured, dried, and iron it, it won't move. So it's good for fabric. So if you paint onto fabric like I do with the skulls and things. So that's those ones. I think, so I used this palette when I was doing my example. So we'll use that again. And I'm just going to take some water and I'm just going to spray. But I used that one. So I've just gone over that, and that is like a navy blue I've got in this corner here. I'm not sure. Oh, there it is. And I've got my little thingy. I kind of put these down and I lose them because I have to let this dry and then I put it somewhere else and I forget to put it back in. But so they have like a nice little palette that comes with them to show you examples of colour. So we're going to use the navy blue. I think I used the darker green for my kind of foliage. So we'll do that. We will do that. Now what else I need? So I've got some water. I've got some more water for me to dip my brush in. And I've got a whole host of brushes. Now I'm going to use probably this one with this kind of, oh, I'll put it down so you can actually see it. Nice kind of I forget what it's called, but a nice shape to the end, and this is good for making your petal shapes and that kind of thing. I've got a slightly smaller one as well, so quite often when I paint I use the edge, these like kind of stiff edge, not stiff edge, but like dead edge ones, but I'm going to use that. So this style is great for making the petals. The bigger the brush, the bigger the petals to a certain extent, so depending how big you want to go. So they're the three that I'm going to pop into my water and we will use. And then I need some actual watercolour cardstock. And at the edge of that I have a little. And then so what we're going to do is very simply, I'm going to take my smallest one out of these. I'm going to load my brush up with the colour. Now if you're using ink pads, you can squish them to the side and just pick up the ink. But this, I need it to be quite concentrated. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to take dots, and I tend to do 8. So I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. If I've got a little bit of a space, I might add in another one. And then from there, this is where I'll pop that brush down to one side. You can use the same brush, and I'll get another one, and it's just loaded with water, only water. Then I just take the brush and I just kind of bring it out. So if you can do it in a 1er, that's great. I can't always, depending on the shape of petal, but I'm just going to take my brush to that and then bring it out. And then as I'm pushing, I push and then bring it up to try and get that nice edge. It doesn't always work, but I do try. And if I want to kind of create a different shape, I will just add them together. Oh, got a bit wonky there. The beauty of this, it doesn't really matter as long as you are just kind of dragging that colour out. And if you find that you've got a bit too much colour on, because I always find I'm quite heavy-handed when it comes to colour, and I need to kind of blend it out a little bit. Once again, I'm just going to take that out, and that one. I'm just going to just widen some of those petals, because sometimes they're a little bit small. Okay, so then what I do is I move on to the next one. So with that concentrated colour, oh, not on my arm, girl. With a concentrated colour, I will go 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I've got my dots. And then wash off my brush to make sure I haven't got too much colour on there, or any colour, and then we'll do it again. And we take that little blob, and we're just pulling it out. Don't worry, they won't stay like this. But the thing is with this is it is very free flowing, and that's why I like it, because petals aren't perfect. Right, so I'm just going to add a little bit more water there, just break up those dots. And the same here, but I will be adding a bit more colour in a second to it. Once again, so I'm just going to work down the paper with my dots. I think I need a bit more fluid on there, because they're not pulling as nicely as I want them to. That's a bit better. Right. I need a little brush stand. I don't have one. And then bit better. I'm going to dab that off, too much colour. Pull that out. The nice thing is you can like edit as you go. I'm just going to push that colour and then use a little bit of tissue. She says, oh, I did have them there. Please. Do we need to zoom in a little bit? I think we probably need to zoom in a little bit. Let me see if I can zoom in a little bit. Sorry, I'm fiddling so I can zoom in a little bit more. That's a little bit better. Is that a bit better? If that's because I was quite far away there. Actually, can I go a little bit more? There we go. Okay, that's a little bit better. So I've got my dots, and then I'm just going to drag that out and try and flick it up to try and get that nice shape, and then just bring it round once again. I feel like I need an actual petal there as well, so I'm just going to add a little one in. And I turn my card as I'm working because I find that I can't move my arm in like funny positions. Right. A bit more water on there. I might actually feel like I need a little bit there. So I'm going to do another couple of those. So this is looking a bit of a mess. In the end, it hopefully will look like that one. The one I prepared earlier. Sometimes you just, I've got to believe in myself a bit more. Be fine. It'll be fine. Right, water. Oh, that particular brush. All the paint. Look, all the paint's coming off the actual wooden handle. I'm not really sure why. I haven't left it any in water or anything. Who knows? I'm just going to drag that colour out. Trying to make a petal-ish shape. I'm leaving a little bit white in the centres. That's kind of a bit like natural shading. That one's quite much nicer. Yeah. Because, well, it's nice to have that kind of shady shade. So I'll do one more. Do here. I've done 1, 2, 3, 4. I've done 6, so I'll do 5 this time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, once again, loaded with water. I've brushed off what I can of the colour. I'm going to take my brush and just give myself a petal shape-ish. They may meet sometimes, and sometimes I'm blending the dots, and sometimes I'm doing like a single. So I'm going to come out of that dot and then I'm going to join that one, and then again with this one. That one I'll do on its own and try and get a nice little point there. And trying to kind of just replicate the shapes that flower petals make. Which I won't always get it right, but that's fine. I'm just going to add a little bit there. So at this stage, still with it being wet, I'm going to go back in and I'm going to just add Might have to add a little bit more water to this one because it's dried. Yeah, I didn't add enough water to this one and this one. That's why they've gone dotty. That's fine, we can sort that. We can sort that. Ooh. So I'm just going to take the brush with actual some ink on or paint and just drop it into those areas. And the same. And I'm just doing a little bit of a dabbing motion. I'm not really touching the cardstock so much. I'm just dabbing it into the little pool of water. And then what I'll do is I'll do the same here, just to kind of create that darker in at the bottom and lighter. Right there, that's a little bit dry. A little bit of water. I'm just going to add a little bit of water here just to kind of keep that movement of the paint. It's still going. That one's come out really nice, that one. So, yeah, there we go. I'm going to just take that blue, dab it in a little. We can edit it with our trusty paper towel. Okay, so I might just pull some of that colour up some of those petals. Same here, just to kind of get a bit more colour tone change between the petals. Might add a little bit more water on that one. I do have a habit of going in a bit dark. Not sure what he's cackling about, but I'm going to remove a little bit of the water on here. So, a little edge. I'm trying not to kind of dab to kind of move the paint, because once it's on there and I dab somewhere else, it might go where I don't want it to go. Okay, fab. Now what we're going to do is to get that really kind of intense middle. Once again, I'm going to go in intense colour, and literally I've just got my brush upright like so, and we're just going to dab it a few times and then kind of connect a little bit of it to where we've added our water and our extra kind of colour, or layer of colour. A little kind of little dabby dabs. Just to make it really intense there. That's looking good. Right. So ordinarily, we let that dry. Actually, I might give it a little blow with the old Dewsbury Flip, just so we've got a dry surface to work with, because you should really do it in stages. So let's get the noisemaker, and we'll give it a little blow. So this was the example, and this is the one we're recreating. So I was actually painting this as I was cooking dinner, and I dried it by opening the oven door and just holding it up to the oven, in the oven for a second. Silly I am. It worked though. My card didn't distort. I'm pretty much there with the drying. Just a little bit. little bit. Just give that a little bend. A little bend. There we go. Now we're going to take some of that green. So I'm going to clear off my brush, and I'm going to use the thin one for my stem, and then I'm going to use the thicker one to do my my leaves, if I can get some leaves in there. So did I? Oh yeah, I'll go for that. So I'm going for the darker green. I'm just going to dab some of that off and add a bit of water just to dilute it a little bit. So I'm going to try and look at, like, I've got this kind of natural curve, so I'm going to start with this top one, and I'm going to try and get it so what would be a natural kind of line for it. And it doesn't matter if it's not perfect, because, well, nature isn't always perfect. I'm going to just kind of work where the stems would be, and we're just going to work down the card. I'm going to take this going off there, because we can add you. And then I think he's going that way, so actually I might. Do I go that way? Or do I do a separate one? I might just do a separate one. I'm going to do a separate one because he looks a bit like he's going off. He's not attached to that one. And we'll do a line up to. So we've got our lines going off here, and now we want to add our petals. So put that one down, grab our slightly bigger one. I'm just dabbing into my palette, what I've got here. So that's a little bit watered down, and that is the darker green I've got. I might just add a little bit more water to that. I'm going to do my first leaf here. So I'm going to drag it this way. So I'm going with the point, and then I'm doing like a little bit of a curve, and I can just add that in. And we will add some more colour onto that in just a sec. But that's nice and wet, so it's not going anywhere. So back in with another leaf. We'll bring that out here. This one I'm doing a little kind of flick, and then the bottom part I just kind of go underneath it just to connect it. No fiddling, and I shouldn't fiddle. That's fine. That's fine. And then once again, a bit more paint on my brush. And then I'm going to come. I've got my brush kind of down, and then I'm lifting. I've got like a rounded edged leaf. Now the other one up here, I think I'm just going to take that smaller brush again. I'm just going to do a little one, but by dragging some of that, the colour that we've got there, and we'll do one just here. So I've got a nice point there. So now I just need to add in a little bit more colour. So I'm going into the palette, going to put a bit more water on it, go into the palette, and I'm just going to drop. I just picked up the wrong colour. I've just picked up the teal. Ah! It's fine. Huh? So we'll just take off some of that teal because it just went into the wrong colour. That was silly of me, wasn't it? Back into that green, and we'll add that green in. I need to add a bit more water just to get it to move. And I'll soak some of that up. I love the editing you can do with watercolours, because you really can't edit with watercolour before it dries. And a little bit more green at the bottom there. I'm just going to drag that down. Just a bit more darker there. And yeah, I'm happy with that. Yes, 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 yes. So obviously this needs to dry and it's a little bit darker than this one, but you saw the kind of techniques that we used. So we used like a full-on colour, and then we dragged that colour out with a brush that was only had water on. But the beauty of something like this is you can paint this in, hey, you know, I mean, once you've done it a couple of times, 15 minutes you can paint one of these, you know, paint dry, paint dry. And I'm just going to bring in my liner pen. I love doing this. Literally just take your liner pen and draw a line. Draw a line. I mean, all I need now is a sentiment, and that is a nice card that I've hand painted. Really lovely kind of simple, artistic, and it really just a little bit of practice and you've created some beautiful flowers. Really lovely. Now, do we have time to do a second one? What do we reckon? I'm only at the half past. Who's with me still? And we'll do a second one if you want to. I'll give you a sec to answer. So that one needs to dry, but I could look. I'll add my line in. But I'm just gonna. This one I'm gonna do. Ah, fab. Well, Kel's here, so I say we do another one. Fabulous. Anybody else wants to join in with us? But yeah, so there is our kind of watercolour. I've gone for blue, but obviously you could use pink, yellow, whatever colour you want to create this. And literally, I mean, I've been talking my way through it to explain what I'm doing. And I mean, you can do these in about 15-20 minutes. So it's just a really lovely way to use. And I mean, if you've got distress inks, you need two colours, you know, the flower colour and a green, and then you can create these, you know, kind of beautiful little cards. So the other one that I'd done or prepared was this one. I have done some others, but I think this is one that is kind of a nice one to do. So let me bring in once again, because we're using the fine liner pen, and I really do like doing fine liner pen detail, like just to draw, because with this kind of project it does not need to be exact. It needs to be an impression, and so that's the beauty of like something like this. So I'll pop that one over to one side. You can't really see it because my camera's in the way. But what we're going to do is we're going to start with two, what they called, two semicircles of colour. So let's clean off my brush first because I've got green on it. I need this one. So I'm going to start with an orange, and you can use an orange or like a brownie colour, but I've gone for an orange, and I'm just going to paint myself a semicircle. One there, and one about here. This isn't exact, obviously. Now we want to create some shading, so I'm then going to pick up like a darker, like it could be a brown, it could be, I'm going to go for like a, I think it's burnt orange I've got. Yeah, I've got like a burnt orange. And I'm just going to add that in a bit more water. I'm going to add that in here, she says. So I've got this, so I keep forgetting that this is out of camera shot now. So apologies. So I'm just going to add a bit of this burnt orange that I've got just to this kind of area here. And on this one as well. But so that is looking a bit rubbish at the moment. But what we need to do is we need to add some water, and I need to try and lift. And the way that we're going to lift is with a clean brush. We're going to push that colour we've got here over and just lift some of that. So once I've lifted it, I'm going to just wipe off my brush to get some of that colour away. I'm just going to push it away. So we've got like that natural light shading. Clean my brush off again. And then the same here, pushing it away. So we're moving some of that or removing some of that orange and pushing it just so we've got like a nice, a little bit there. Yeah, that nice kind of lighter tone to it. So that's where we're going to start. 2 semicircles, very simple. Now is where we do our petals. So I've gone for the pink to create these petals, and like we did before with the brush stroke, so pushing it down and then lifting it as best you can to try and kind of get that nice kind of petal shape. But you can do it 2 or away depending how you prefer to work. But I've just loaded my brush up with some water. I'm going to go into my kind of nice pinky colour. Once again, I've got quite a watered colour, so I'm just going to add a bit more water to what I'm kind of taking the base colour and just watering it out a little bit on here, and I'm going to work with that. I may go in with a bit more what's the word I'm looking for? A bit more pink or water, depending. But I'm just going to quickly give that a little blast so we don't aggravate, so it doesn't bleed straight in from one to the other. Because that's the only problem with watercolours, is the bleeding. If you don't dry between your kind of colour changes. But I don't need it all, so it's still a little bit wet at the top here, but it's just this bottom line here that I need to be dry. So I'm going to take the brush, I'm going to take it, and so that's quite vibrant. So I'm just going to put a bit more water onto there, and I'm going to just take it, and don't worry about the gaps because we're going to fill those. So that isn't a problem. And some of the petals will be fuller than others. Some will be thicker. You know, it really doesn't matter. But I do 2 layers of petals. So I'll do a first layer, and then I will go back in to fill in any kind of spaces that I feel are too exposed or too white. And one last one just going down there. And then we do the bottom one. So at the moment it don't worry. It looks a bit rubbish at the moment, but I promise it will sort itself out once we've got our kind of layers and our pen work. So once again, I'm pushing down nice thick and then lifting to try and get that point of the petal. I do find like watercolouring really therapeutic, and I know I should definitely do it way more than I do, because it is fun, isn't it? But when like you're, you know, colouring your projects, like if you're card making and you're doing stamps and stuff, it's the same kind of things that I'm just going to pull that down. I don't really like, there you go, that's a bit of a better shape. It's the same kind of thing of like how to move the paint and building your colours and drying between layers, because watercolour will always do its own thing. Watercolour really doesn't care what you want it to do. It does what it wants to do. So I'm going back in. I'm going to add a bit more water to here. So when I say I'm just adding a bit more water to my little watered down palette, and I'm just going to come back in to those gaps and just fill with a couple more petals. Doing that same thing again. I'm not reloading my brush too much each time. So I've just done, what, 3 petals from one loading. Because some of these will fade into the background, some of them will be the front petals. And we are going to be scribbling all over it, so it's fine. Until I'm concentrating, I'll go quiet. So we will dry this layer. We've got lots of petals there. So there we are at the moment. So I'm going to dry this layer, and then we can do the green. Probably enough. Now I haven't left a lot of space to do my leaves because I've done it quite low down. I should have done it a little bit higher up, but oh well. So now we need to go on to our green again. So I'm going to use the lighter green for this one actually. So I've got 2 greens. I've got like a forest green, and I've got like a grass green. So we're going to go for the grassy green for this one, which is this colour. So once again, using my brush, water, taking it to the palette, add a little bit more water if I need it a little bit more fluidy, so I've got that movement, and I'm going to pull my colour from that little bit each time. So this one I'm going to bring down there, and I'm going to imagine a line and bringing it down more. So I imagine that's where it's going to, if the flower was sitting like naturally, that's where it is. With this one, I should have tilted it maybe a little bit more, but this one I'm gonna bring here so I can add in the leaf, because I'm probably only going to get one leaf in there. So now let's take that up like that. So I've done a swooshy, and I'm going to add another swooshy and bring it to meet that tip. And then on the bottom we're doing more of a flat one. So my cardstock is moving around a little bit, so I'm going to do that to kind of create my leaf. Okay, I want more water. And I'm just going to join the stem up with them so it doesn't look too kind of unnatural. And a bit more colour there. And there. So all I'm going to do is take away a little bit of the water that's on here now. So we add, take, add, take. So I've taken it away, but I am going to I'm going to add it back in. But I'm going in a little bit more concentrated, just along this bottom line, because that would be where it's shaded slightly if it were real. And then what we're going to do is we're going to blast that dry, and then we'll do our pen work. So that one was even quicker. Oh no, my guns stopped working because it's overheated. I've got another one. No fear, I have another one somewhere. Oh, there? Yes, there it is. I've got another one, which I shall plug in somewhere. I'm hoping I'm plugging someone I shouldn't. The laptop's plugged in, so we're all good. Okay. They do overheat sometimes. It's very annoying. There we go. Okay, that's probably enough. So I'm just going to take a fine liner pen. I do have a set of these, and I have like a 0.2, which I prefer to use, but I can't find it as usual. So we shall use this one. We shall use this one. So now, like we have done in this one, we will just go over kind of where the petals and the leaves would be, but it's not exact. It doesn't have to be exact. It can be sketchy. That's the idea of this, because it doesn't have to be perfect. So I'm going to take my pen and I'm going to start working on my petals. So I am just going to make shapes that are petal-like, not exact. And that's okay. That's the beauty. I'm going to just add that one up there. So I'm doing some which are behind, some which are in front. And just work my way through the petals, and if they have particular shapes that I like, I will just incorporate the paint shape to them, because some of them come out quite nicely, some of them we tuck away. Yep, here we go. That one's all kind of blended in a little bit, so we'll tuck that one away. I like that one, so we will add him in. Then I shall do these ones. So once again, what angle shall I go from? Probably just went the wrong way. So we've got a petal here. That one's nice. That one can be tucked away behind there. That one can be tucked away. Don't forget the top bits, because top and bottom. So that one there. And then I'm going to tuck that one and bring that one in front. Oh, I've got a monster coming up the stairs. I'm going to tuck that one, and that one can go in front. Right, last petals. There we go. So that's the petals. And then we've got like the kind of the middle of the flower. So I'm just gonna squiggly wiggly, because they are always squiggly wiggly, and then just do some little squiggly wigglies where the pollen would be, just to absolutely no kind of uniformity. It's just squiggly wigglies. And then we'll do a little kind of jaggedy waggedy on there, squiggly wigglies. Just totally random, like squiggly shapes. Now all we need to do is our stems. So literally just nice lines. And then for this one, I'm going to go down there, and I'm going to draw ish. I might just add the line in for the actual leaf. So okay, so there is. I'm going to just zoom you out just a tad, if I can. Just so we can. No, that wasn't enough. There's got to be an easier way of doing this. There we go. So now I'll move you over to one side. I'm going to do my border again. So just taking the pen, running it along. Doesn't need to be particularly straight. I mean, unless you really like it straight. And then I'm just going to stop before we get to the flower and start again here and here and here and here. There we go. I think I could probably do with a bit more colour in there, but I'm quite happy with that. So there we go. Literally all I need to add to that is a sentiment of some description, maybe a black backing or pink, or depending what kind of colour you like to work with, to then make it into a card. No stamps required. Anybody can scribble like I can scribble, because I literally scribbled. I didn't do anything fancy, just a little bit of scribbling. But still it looks nice, although I should have added that a little bit further over, but that's my problem, because I wanted to do the leaves. So today, guys, I'm going to flippity-flew you around, because that concludes our watercolouring. Oh, look, my cameras, I can move that a little bit now. Stay you. So today, we have done some very simple watercolouring techniques, created what can be a lovely little card front, or a piece to go into a frame, but literally 2 colours this one, for the blue flowers. So I done my example, and then we done a recreation. So lovely, kind of very friendly watercolouring, and then we have done our kind of daisy style flower. I'm all so awful with what flowers what way am I doing it that way? So they will get put onto card fronts, and I will sell them at fairs, because people like it. May dare to give it a go. Do give it a go. It is literally, it's so simple, so easy. And I mean, you can really experiment with colours. Like I was playing around with doing I don't know if I showed this at the beginning or not, but doing like a dandelion, but more of a colourful dandelion type flower. So I mean, I was just like dabbing colour. So we can do that at some point, but I didn't do that tonight. Also, I was just playing with how my brush works, and Like you see like this, how people do the circles all the time with the like the brush strokes and stuff. So I was having a little play with that, but I didn't have enough time to do the next kind of layers to kind of add in more detail with the flowers and stuff. So that's, you know, something else that we could do another time. But I hope you've enjoyed that, guys. Sorry I haven't showed you the new collection yet, but there is a reason. I haven't received all my samples yet, so I'm still waiting on some samples for my stencils, and obviously I want to show you them all together. But there will be 4 stamp sets, which are A6, and there will be 2 new stencil sets, so hopefully I will have them next week for you. It's very exciting. So anyway, yeah, thanks for joining me. Yeah, do give it a go. Give it a go. It's really good fun. And anyway, so thanks guys for joining me. Kel, thanks for your company as always. I really do appreciate it. It's lovely to chat with you. And guys, I shall see you next Tuesday for some more inspiration. Not sure what. It may be new collection inspiration, but we will see when we get there, because that's a whole week away and I've got a house to sort out and summer holidays to do, and you know, we will see what happens as always. Anyway, I'm waffling because I can't help it, but I will see you all again soon, and I look forward to seeing you all then. So I always do this. Which one do I press? Do I press the stream or do I press my thingy? I'm going to press the stream. So see you later.